Good evening and welcome to 16 by 9, The Bigger Picture. Paying for surrogacy is illegal here in Canada, but it's a thriving business in India, where Western couples travel searching for women who will carry their babies. It's called reproductive outsourcing, and India has made it an easy and inexpensive deal. But as our Jas Johal reports tonight, it comes with some major problems.
Elizabeth Mullen and her husband are on their second trip to Toronto. Both have traveled 2 hours from Kingston.
Do you think it's going to work this time?
They're here for a second attempt at getting pregnant.
Excited?
This isn't a romantic weekend, though. They're at a fertility clinic for a baby they don't want to keep.
Hi, I'm here for a transfer today.
Elizabeth is already a parent. She's a stay-at-home mom who lives for spending time with her son. The joy of motherhood is also why she agreed to be a surrogate. She's hoping to carry a baby for a couple in Germany. She met them online.
When we were pregnant with our son, we thought, how awful would it be for somebody to not be able to have this? And, I want to help somebody have a family and to get to the end of the journey and go, this is yours, this is your baby, and this is for you, and to actually give that to somebody.
And now she's waiting to carry 3 fertilized embryos that genetically belong to the German couple. The process is simple. The goal is to create a healthy embryo in a test tube, which is then implanted in the womb.
Right in the uterus. Right.
If the commissioning parents have to deal with infertility or low sperm count, the woman undergoes thigh and stomach injections to produce better eggs. If this fails, donated sperm or eggs can be used. The surrogate, in this case Elizabeth, is essentially providing a healthy womb.
I know from the start that it's not my baby. It never was my baby and will never be my baby. It's all theirs. I just keep it safe for a few months.
Once the baby is born, the German couple would adopt it and take him or her back home as their own. We can't identify the commissioning parents because in Germany, surrogacy is a crime.
So there are a lot of couples that come from Germany and get surrogates in Canada or in the United States because the laws in Germany are so strict.
Couples are first tested when they have difficulty conceiving. The increased use of surrogacy and IVF isn't always due to medical issues, says Vancouver doctor John Havelock.
We do know that couples and women are waiting longer to have children over the past 3 to 4 decades, and we do know age plays probably the largest role in fertility. While we don't have a perfect test to determine that, probably the waiting and age is the #1 factor in increased demand for fertility treatments.
Surrogacy may be legal in the US and Canada, but both countries view the procedure very differently. South of the border remains a simple commercial transaction that can cost up to $70,000 once you include administration, medical, and payment to the surrogate. In Canada, surrogates can only be reimbursed for medical and travel expenses. The law forbids a commercial relationship, meaning surrogates in Canada can't be paid a wage for carrying a child. The Canadian Supreme Court is now considering a Quebec case that argues federal law is unconstitutional. It came about after the 1993 Royal Commission on New Reproductive Technologies that critics argue did more to protect surrogates but little to help desperate childless couples. Since then, there has been little legal guidance when it comes to donors and surrogates.
The purpose of the act at that time was to protect the surrogate, worried about someone entering into a contract and being persuaded by money and perhaps to be harmed by the procedure. And in actual fact, it's the intended parents that need to be protected because the power or the desire to have a family is so overwhelming that many couples will do anything.
Vancouver lawyer Larry Kahn drafts contracts for surrogates and commissioning parents across the country. He says the law has driven parents underground. Expense payments in Canada go between $20,000 to $25,000.
My sense is that there's altruistic surrogacy. It exists far greater than the public realizes, and that's the objective of the act. But I think it's also fair to say that when my clients agree to reimburse for expenses, they also are aware of the fact that some surrogates will demand a payment of a fee, and they'll just make private arrangements and not tell anybody.
For those who can't afford the price, the answer increasingly lies in the East. Most Western images of India usually involve call centers and high-tech workers. It has truly become the outsourcing center to the world, and that includes surrogacy, which is called reproductive outsourcing, or wombs for rent. Couples have been coming here for IVF treatment for years. Now surrogacy is booming.
We have put 3 embryos, all of them implanted. We reduce it to 2.
To 2.
Yeah.
Dr. Anup Gupta's New Delhi clinic has no problem attracting women willing to rent their wombs for $7,500 Canadian, a fraction of what it costs in Canada or the US. Dr. Gupta says his work benefits both buyers and sellers.
It is done by women, who have experienced pregnancies and, who are trying to improve their livelihood. For a couple who's coming from abroad, they know that they cannot get a child on their own.
Dr. Gupta's waiting room is filled with people willing to buy, sell, or rent. Like Canada, many Western nations have either banned or heavily regulate commercial surrogacy. India legalized it in 2002. Western couples are now flocking here, turning India into the baby factory of the world. 1 out of 3 surrogate births on the planet are now occurring in India. That number is expected to double in the next 5 to 10 years alone. The biggest reason, of course, is that there are no laws governing surrogacy here, just guidelines. And that's created a moral and legal minefield. The child Pooja will carry is not genetically hers. An Australian couple is paying her for the use of her womb. Surrogates are screened for health problems and must be parents already, so they don't build an emotional bond with the baby. The rental fee will change her family's life.
Right now we are renting, and with this money we're hoping to buy our own home. We can't afford a home on just our income.
These pregnant surrogates carry babies for customers in Britain, Norway, and Lebanon. They've rented their wombs to help couples bypass their respective countries' ban on surrogacy. Daisy is a UK citizen, but was purchased in India. Unable to conceive themselves, her British parents paid an Indian woman to have the child.
She's perfect.
Dream come true. What we long for, finally it's happened.
Carla will be a mother of twins in 5 months. She asked for her identity to be hidden. The 33-year-old Spaniard has come to India to meet the woman carrying her children.
I wanted to see how our babies are doing. You can only do that by meeting the surrogate mother and see how she is doing, by her emotions and by love.
For Carla, it's worth almost any price. Under Indian law, the commissioning parents are the child's real parents, not the surrogate. But with third parties donating sperm or an egg for a surrogate to carry, it can make it difficult to decide citizenship. Dr. Vinay Agarwal delivers the babies carried by Dr. Gupta's surrogates.
Suppose the genetic father is a commissioning father, and let's say the egg is being donated by somebody. Now this is an odd situation. The law is not very clear.
It's a problem highlighted by Manji's birth. The Indian Supreme Court had to decide Manji's citizenship after her Japanese parents divorced during their Indian surrogate's pregnancy. The sperm was donated by the father, but the egg came from a third party. After months of legal battles, her biological Japanese father was granted custody.
It also tells you that it's a bit of a Wild West here, in the sense that those laws should have been in place beforehand.
I feel everything has a learning curve, and we are passing through that phase.
The Indian government is drafting a new law to protect surrogates and parents this year. Till then, Dr. Gupta and his staff try to make sure neither side is taken advantage of.
They want to pay. Let me tell you, we have had surrogates who are given a flat forever in their name. They have children's education free for lifetime and all sort of things.
And that, says Larry Khan, is further reason why Canada needs to update its laws before more Canadians are forced to look east.
The public who's interested in having children are going to do what it takes, and it's a problem. I'd far rather see it legalized, to use that term, because I'm not sure if that's the right term, and have some government protocols that couples involved in surrogacy can follow.